So 9-3, ties for the second most wins in school history. Obviously now the most wins by a first-year coach in school history. It all goes to computers. We will not know until late. Oddly, the Hawaii-Wyoming game matters because the other teams played those teams. So depending upon where they are, depends on how their wins rank. So even like Michigan, Ohio State matters.
So we want Michigan to win. Who do we want to win?
UCLA.
Hawaii,
We want UCLA probably to win. Yeah. So it's
weird. Who do they play, USC?
Yeah, I think so. So it's weird. It's weird. It's going to take a while. So here we go.
All right, very proud of our team. You know, I have a lot of respect for San Diego State. I mean, that's a really good football team. They're tough. They're physical. And I thought we had to show a lot of heart to keep battling there. We had to overcome some adversity. There were times we were really struggling to move the ball, and they were kind of winning the field position battle, where they were starting drives at the 40 and we were starting drives at the 10, and we weren't moving it very much. So just credit to our defense hanging in there. It was kind of a little bit apropos. They ended the game with them out there. I'm so thankful to our crowd. Every time I challenge them, they step up. 30,000 was awesome, and they impacted the football game. And that's the beauty of being a football fan. You can't impact the game when you're watching on TV, but when you come to University Stadium, you can impact the game, and they impacted with all those false starts that kept pushing them back in that situation. So very thankful for them. Again, I think probably a bad strategy by me. Our kicker's so good. I was going to center the ball on third down and then kick it on fourth down. I probably should have centered it on second down and then kicked it on third down. We have such a good kicker. But the team had my back on it. It was a great touchdown, great play call by Coach Slice, and then Coach Nowinski put together a great plan and really played great defense there that last series to keep them out of there. So heck of a win. They're a very good team, and we're going to hold our heads high no matter what happens with this computer tiebreaker. In the olden days, before you had these conference championship games, you'd be a four-way tie code, or at least three-way, maybe four-way tomorrow, depending on what happens. We control that we can control, and it's a great year regardless what happens with this tiebreaker.
You were watching the end of the game, just kind of hanging out over there, just kind of quietly away from everything else and all that. What's kind of running through your head as you're watching the end of that Utah State Boise State game there?
Really, I was thinking, we got to find a way to move the ball on these guys a little bit better, because if we had to play them again, because they're pretty salty to move the ball on. We got them with the fake quarterback sneak sweep for a big play. We got them on the little Y high. We had a few times where we tricked them. We didn't do very well at just lining up and kicking their butts. They're good, but I've been pretty lucky in life, I think. So I was hoping for a little luck there, but credit to Boise State for pulling that one out and coming from behind. Now I wish I just would have called the team in and let it go. I thought we were going to be able to tell them, hey, we're in, and what our schedule was, but now we're up until Sunday anyway.
What do you kind of attribute some of the obviously San Diego State's a very big physical team. What do you kind of attribute some of the offensive struggles today?
They're really, really good. There's 136 teams in the country. They're number 2 in scoring defense. So, they give up 11 points a game. So I know we had an extra period to get to 23, but they're just very good. They're a lot bigger than us. That's a reminder that we got to keep recruiting well, and we got to keep developing guys better. But credit to him. I think they had 3 wins last year and went to 9 wins this year. So hopefully we can make another jump, even though we're having a better starting point than they did. But in his second year, he had a big jump. Hopefully we can do the same thing.
Coach, you've seen a lot of football in your day. Where do you rank this game and the final blow of the whistle there, where you guys finally won, amongst all the football that you've seen?
That was a great win. I can think of some overtime games. 2014 Division II playoffs, Minnesota State Mankato versus Pittsburgh State was an overtime game where we won on a interception in overtime. That I kind of walked off the field. How do we beat those guys? And that was a great win. I'm sure that's my favorite win as a head coach in the 4 years I've been a head coach, and just proud of this team to come back, to start 0-2 in conference and to come back and win 6 straight, to finish 6-2 and tied for the best record of anybody. It was a heck of a deal.
Coach, I tracked down Jack on the field after the game and asked him what he told Lopstein after that fumble, and he said, "Hey, when I was in high school, I did the same exact thing." I'm curious, what did you say to him afterwards?
I just, hey, be ready. Can't do anything about it now. Let's focus on the future. We might need you this next series. And he had great runs to get us down there to whatever yard line we were at. We were, about the 5 or 4 when that happened. So they made a nice play. I think Dwayne McDougal, was the guy who knocked it out. He was a heck of a football player. And credit to them, because that's, when you're in that situation, that's the play you have to make defensively in that situation. They know our kicker's good and is probably going to make the field goal. So great job by them. But I think that shows again the toughness of our team, because a play like that where you feel like you have the game won and then it goes away can break teams. But our team's kind of unbreakable spirit that way, and came back and won it in the second overtime and didn't flinch.
And the fact that you have about 5,000 fans on the field for about half an hour afterwards, it just shows you how different things are right now than they have been probably at any point in the past for most Lobo fans. I mean, what's that like, just to have that reaction afterwards?
It's awesome. Again, we can be a basketball and a football school. You don't have to be one or the other. I think there's a lot of teams that have shown that. I know Hack Fernando, when he was at Florida, right? They won national championships in hoops and in football, during the time. So there's no reason we can't be one of the premier group of 5 teams in both. And Lobo fans should know there's going to be, when you come there, you're going to have a lot of fun times. You're going to leave home a winner a lot more often than you're not. 6-0, and what a legacy for our seniors. I think, what are the years again, 62 or 64?
62, 63, 64 is when they won championships.
When was the last time they were undefeated at home, though? 62?
Yeah, that was a
5-0 season, and then before that it was 1930, 38. So, I mean, that's a legacy for our seniors that they'll be able to tell their kids and grandkids about. So, very proud of them, and again, we're going to be good here for a while. So,
Coach, talk about your rush defense there in the fourth quarter and overtime. You really kind of turned them into a one-dimensional team there.
Yeah, and that was part of our plan. And they're a salty bunch. We ended up holding them to 4.6 yards a rush, which I think is, I'm not sure what they averaged. It might be a little less than they averaged, but they're a salty bunch, and we did want to try to force them. They have such a big O-line. I was looking at their O-line. I couldn't believe just how big they are. We wanted to try to get them in more passing situations, which we were able to, and then we got 4 sacks. We took 7 sacks ourselves. So. But we did a great job stopping the run just enough to get him in those situations. And Lucky Sutton's a good back. I mean, he'll have my vote for all conference. And Washington did a good job coming in. I'm sure he was motivated to play against us, being a former Lobo. But we did a good job of getting them in enough situations, and we got a lot of stops in that fourth quarter, which was huge because they had pretty good field position. And some of those sacks were huge because I think at the end of regulation, they were in a position where they, if they got another, first down, another 15 yards, they might have been able to take it down and kick a field goal with no time left. So,
Coach, talk about the call on the McKinney touchdown and how important it was to get a quick strike at that point when the game had become such a slog.
Yeah, how much time was left with that one? I mean, there was 8:59. I don't know if we needed a quick strike there, but I think it was important that we scored. Our defense did a good job coming out, and you could tell. I had to reframe things a little bit in the locker room because I think our guys kept thinking in the locker room that hey, we're down by 4 when we had a 10-0 lead, and I tried to reframe it. If I would have told this team in training camp that we're going to be down by 4 playing for a conference championship in the last game at halftime at home, I think everybody would have taken that situation. So, and the defense did a great job getting a stop, and we knew we had to be aggressive on fourth down, especially when we got them to 4th and short. To try to stay on the field against that defense, because I always think with sometimes those 4th down conversions, if you pass up a 4th and 2, you end up what they had at the end of the game, 4th and 30, later. So that was a big conversion, and they had everybody stuck in there. And as soon as I saw how they lined up, I kind of knew that was going to be a hit. We were trying to draw them off sides first, and then kill it and run that play. And when I saw how they aligned, it was almost like, let's not try to draw them offside. It was too late because it was under 15 seconds. You couldn't talk to the quarterback. But it was almost like, let's not even try to draw them off sides. We got a great play. There's no one out there. And great execution. DT had a great block. And that'll help McKinney's yards per carry average. He was under 4, which I was giving him a hard time about.
Coach, regardless of how the tiebreakers go, I mean, at the end of the day, you still tie for at least the best record in the Mount West this year. Can you just kind of speak to the significance of that and how important, how cool
huge.
that is?
That's huge. And again, I wanted to motivate the guys just because I didn't want that to be something. So Fernando, I promised him we're getting him rings if we won the game. So we got to figure out that in the budget. But hopefully, have some boosters to step up. But I told him we'll get rings, bowl rings. We probably can't say conference champions if we don't win the tiebreaker, but we'll put something on that ring and give them something they can be proud to wear around. And, again, I told the team we're going to find a way to get to 10 wins, whether we got 2 more opportunities or whether we just have 1 to do that. So, very, very proud of it. And, again, I think it'll be a good lesson, going forward that, we didn't play our best football early in the conference slate on the road. Hopefully Sullivan and Glory can help us out and not give us 2 road games next year on the road again to start the year. We got right once we got back to the home schedule. But, we control that we can control here down the stretch, and we'll see where the chips fall.
And then can you speak on Austin Brawley's performance today? I think he had that forced fumble in the first quarter. He had that huge sack in the fourth quarter, obviously the interception in overtime.
He's a great player, and that was great studying and film studying. I think our staff knew when they saw that formation, they knew exactly what play was coming. And I'm not sure if it was early enough. Brawley doesn't have the head-to-head, so he couldn't have heard the coaches saying. I think he just knew based on film study that was like their favorite play to run, like an inside zone RPO with a glance, and they'd hit that earlier. And 14 was really their go-to guy. He had a great, touchdown right at the end of the first half, Brown. And so he anticipated it. John anticipated it, broke it up in the air, and, as good as you could ask for. That's why you play defense first. You can get a stop, and now you just need a field goal to win. And I told Slice, hey, we're going to go conservative. We're not going to so it's my fault because I was the one who told him to keep running James. I said, hey, get the ball in James' hands. Let's run it 3 times. And I had a lot of confidence in Luke to kick a field goal. But, it ended up working out.
Coach, you've had an incredible season, especially with it being your first year. Community's bought in. If this is it, was this a good enough season for you?
This is a great season. We had another game. We clinched a bowl, so this isn't it. We got a bowl no matter what, even if we don't play in the conference championship game. So we'll see where we go. I mean, hopefully we got a lot of bowls who are interested in us. I think we do. So hopefully they're fighting over where we get to go because our fans are fired up, and I'm sure hopefully some people, whether it's here in the stadium, whether they got to travel, will come and support us.
Coach, what's yours and the team's message to people who didn't believe in you guys going into the year? I mean, we talked about it in Las Vegas, preseason polls. Now you guys are at the top of the conference.
Yeah, I don't know if we really have a message. I know, Fernando told me this the other day, and I didn't tell the team this, but I think it's a pretty apropos thing. It's more about, proving yourself right than proving other people wrong. And, I think we're just a good example and a good lesson of, a team that can come together. And, I think we're a team that shows a lot of the things that lead to winning and lead to championships. And if you do that stuff, the wins follow. So I think this is a great starting point, and very proud of these guys. And I know we have a lot of guys who are going to be really successful in life, whether it's playing more football, whether it's owning businesses, working in a business, in education, lawyers, whatever it is. I know they're going to be successful.
And how much faith did you have in both your offense and defense in both overtime frames?
No, I had good faith. I think we talked a lot situationally, with Coach Slice, what the scenarios were. I mean, I think we were going to run the play we ran in the second overtime. If we would have won the toss, or we won the toss. If we would have lost the toss and went on offense first, we would have ran that same play in the first overtime that we ran in the second overtime. Because I like that as a good aggressive play call there. Once we got the stop, which is what you want. You want to go on defense first, know what you have to do. Now we were just going to run the ball. We were not going to risk an interception. Obviously, we unfortunately fumbled and didn't take advantage of that. But we had confidence. I really thought it, because we were losing the field position game. So I was kind of thinking at the end, well, if we can get to overtime, at least the field position's even, because they kept starting drives, like I said, at the -40, and we were at the -10, which was tough to overcome the way we were moving the ball.
I know you said you were conservative there, even going in the first overtime, but all year you've been aggressive. Defense has had some situations where they've had to come back. So, again, how big was, the ability to bounce back? And then obviously this is a stupid question because it was the first play that you scored. But if you didn't score on that first play in second overtime, do you think things fall the same way?
I don't know. I mean, we were pretty aggressive, but really it's not that aggressive a play call because, it ends up being kind of a shorter pass. It's play action and things, and we knew that pass was good against that defense. And, everything changes no matter what happens. It's a lot different if they score the first series and, the game. You got to play the game how it unfolds. I knew we'd probably have to convert some fourth downs. I think we ended up converting a couple. We were 111 on third down, which isn't very good. So fortunately, we at least got 2 fourth downs that helped us.
You had 99 rushing and 2 touchdowns on those fourth downs. finish it up with Sean?
I know you talked a little bit about it on Tuesday and all that, and I know it's just right after a game, but of course you're a guy that's, considered kind of an attractive candidate for other openings, and UNM wants to keep you and keep this kind of success. How do you kind of approach the, the next couple weeks of kind of evaluating your future and, talking with Fern and figuring all that out?
I love it here. I've talked to nobody, and, I think you might hear some news soon from out of our camp, so, which is exciting.
All right, with that, you're done.
Thank you.